All right, we should be live. Hey, everybody, and welcome to this month's Meet a Member, joined by Mark and Clay. And welcome, Clay.
Hi,
Thank you
thank
for
you.
joining us tonight.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Just want to take care of a few quick housekeeping things. The conference registration is now open. If you go to ttpg.org and click the conferences button, there should be a registration link there. The hotel rooms are not open yet. That block should open up soon, and we will let you guys know when it does. We do have several sponsorships available. So if you're at all interested in helping us out, we could use some sponsorships either for the conference or just in general. And I think those are linked on the website. If not, we're going to be sending an email out with all of the links for the sponsorships. We are running kind of a little contest for the month of July. Anyone who sends in any donation or sponsorship over 25 bucks is entered in a drawing for a t-shirt of your choice from our bonfire store. So
Sweet.
yeah,
Very
that's
nice.
all. That's all the housekeeping stuff I have. So I don't know if you guys want to dive in, get started.
Sure,
Hey,
let's
Clay,
get into
how's it
it.
going?
Quite well. How's it going, Mark?
Very good. Finally, nice to actually see your face and have a couple conversations with you.
Yes, sir. Yep, my apologies there, but hey, time is now.
Yeah, very nice. So, Clay, how did you find the TTPG?
So honestly, listening to Anthony Pierleone's podcast, the Pondcast, you'd hear mentions of the TTPG and certain people involved within, and it's kind of always piqued my interest. I would say for a long time, I've kind of stood on the outside of things, kind of observing. I've always been just a little like hesitant, kind of joining an organization, attaching my name to something. But I've got to say, from my position on the outside, this seems to have been the most supportive and like just group of generally friendly people. And yeah, I'm so glad to finally be, an official member, officially part of all of it.
Will you be making a trip to the conference this year?
I would love to, but unfortunately, I don't think vacation time will allow me to at work. Yeah, there's some kind of things going on there, but yeah, I unfortunately don't think it will be this year.
We're going to miss you. It's a really good, great conference, great place to network. I met Wendy there for the first time this year. It was amazing. Just the amount of people, the amount of information and the like-minded people all in one spot is just such a great networking opportunity. So hopefully one of these days you'll make it there.
Of
I
course,
feel
yeah,
like once you go once, you'll go every year. Like you'll never want to miss it. It's awesome.
yeah, right. Yeah, I've only ever heard good things about it. Yeah, my one of my friends, Sean, he's always like, "Oh, are you going to TTPG? You should just fly out there, no big deal." But yeah, it's I do get a little bit jealous because it does sound like a great time, and a whole bunch of turtle people all in the same building. That's got to be like heaven.
It's pretty sweet. It's pretty sweet. So Clay, what's the first species you started working with?
So I will be honest. The first species that I've ever worked with was eastern box turtles. Not a great first species for a 5-year-old kid. I had family members who were very supportive of my passion just for animals. Crocodile Hunter was, a huge thing back then. I was pretty much glued to the TV when Steve Irwin was on, and it's just, um, yeah, my family members have always supported that aspect of my life. So much so, would, you know, come up to visit us. Hey, we got you this turtle. And at the time, of course, that was like, oh my gosh, this thing's real. Looking back on it, I feel really guilty because I definitely was not taking good care of an eastern box turtle at 5 years old. They definitely don't like reptile carpet. That's a big thing. But yeah, kind of. a little bit more seriously into my keeping of turtles. The first species that I'd really gotten into was southern painted turtles. Me and my cousin, for a while we lived together. Um, as kids, we had southern painted turtles, and it was just that's kind of where the turtle bug really got me. Um, yeah, really really passionate about those guys. And then, as time went on, he would take them, we moved away from each other. He would take them. And then, sometimes it was like, hey, Clay, I kind of can't really take care of these anymore. Would you like them? And, then some unfortunate circumstances with raccoons had happened, and they are no longer with us. But Eastern box turtles and southern painted turtles is where it all started, turtle wise.
Nice.
So I feel like all of us have uh, an animal that we could have taken better care of before we knew any better, and that the way we take care of our animals now and the effort and kind of love that we put into it is an apology to those early animals. I know I feel that way about mine. Um,
100% Wendy. I couldn't agree with you more.
Nail
Could
on
yeah,
that.
not. The reason I'm working with Russian tortoises is I owe them that respect. I really
Yeah.
do. I did no right by the Russian tortoise I had as a kid. None. So
yeah, and I mean back in the day, like there was no internet, so it was literally combing through the library trying to find care information, and sometimes animals would come in and there would be no care information. So like, I had wild caught ball pythons in college that came in with ticks on them and did not keep them the way I keep mine now. Like he's in a giant 4-foot cage with, you know, climbing branches and heat and all this stuff. So it's definitely like I'm kind of saying I'm sorry to the guys that I had back in the day before I knew better. So
Sure. Is that the
we
cage behind you right there?
no, that's actually spider tortoises, but he's in a similar setup.
Awesome.
Yeah, I just picked those up recently and I love
Yep, and
them.
we're enjoying the photos that you keep posting. So keep that up.
Oh
Everyone likes
yeah.
to look at your spiders. So Clay, are you so you've been doing this since you've been 5 years old? I say you're really into it now. You uploaded a video of your outdoor enclosures, which I'm impressed by.
Thank
Extremely.
you.
Did you build those yourself? Dad help, mom help,
Yep.
hired a
Yeah.
contractor?
It was me and Dad. I was out there. I had built the first one. And he's like, "Listen, dude, we're gonna take this apart. We're gonna bust out some survey equipment. We're gonna make sure that this thing is like exactly mathematically level, with the slope of the yard." And he gets really into the fine details of things, and I'm just like, I don't really know if turtles are gonna care about all that, but I do do greatly appreciate that aspect of him wanting to get involved with it, because it does make for some very nice looking enclosures. And yeah, so yeah, definitely big help from Pops. He's kind of helped me be a little bit more thorough with planning. I've got an idea in my mind, and he really helps just kind of get it, out into physical materials.
Nice, very
Do you
nice.
mind going into a little detail on how those are built? I'm watching your video. I was getting ideas left and right. We deal with a lot of raccoons here, and I really love the way you have that set up. They look very, very predator proof. You've got they are, I couldn't tell from your video. And it looks like they're fully enclosed. They've got a roof too.
Yep, fully enclosed. As is a very, or was, I should say, a popular occurrence in talking to me about turtles is, those damn raccoons.
Yeah.
Um, it's so those pens right there are they're made out of pressure treated lumber. I guess that kind of doesn't matter by way of predator proofing anything, but that is 2 by 12 pressure treated lumber. um they are 4 feet tall. Well, yeah, for sake of conversation, they're 4 feet tall, just enough room to kind of get in there and be crouched and everything. I've got, corner posts just for, my uprights, and um, being able to affix all that wire too. It is So each of those pens, aside from the Herman's tortoise pen, is 8 foot by 12 foot, and then I got the Gulf Coast kind of timeout pen on the end, which is like 4.5 feet by 11, or we'll say 12 feet. I kind of used a couple of my cutoffs for that, so it's not quite 12 feet. But yeah, my biggest thing was just fully enclosed everything. I have a mentor kind of local to me, within an hour's drive. His pens are built similarly. I saw his setups a couple years ago, and I was just like, you know what, I've gotta make this my reality. This is like, why would I do it any other way? At first those pens were only as tall as the 2x12s were, and then I would just build lids sitting on top of them. But then you're every time you want to get in there, mess around with them or feed them, you got to take the lid off, and I just found it to
It's
be a
harder to
lot
have
more.
plants. Yeah.
Exactly. Your plants are only, that tall, and you gotta cut them all even so you can open those lids. And
Hmm.
yeah, this way I find is like my preferred way of building enclosures. Yeah,
Are you
that's
using cattle panels for the wire? What type of wire are you using?
that is, I think it's 4 inch by 2 inch. I guess maybe you would call it cattle wire. It's not definitely not chicken wire, but you just buy it in like I think it's a 150-foot roll at Home Depot.
Okay.
Um, it does have like this weird like oil coating on it. Just working with it, it'll turn your hands black. So I do just kind of hit that whole row with the pressure washer, and then I feel a little bit better about using it. Um, but yeah, I've got that ran all along. Well, obviously wrapping the enclosures and then all across the top, but um, that open space, obviously it varies just because with the way that we have it built, with the slope of the yard, it'll run longer or run shorter in some areas. So we the wire, and then we took off the top 2x12, screwed it back on so it sandwiches the wire in between the corner posts and everything, and then you just kind of staple it to the inside of the 2x12s on the inside of the enclosure. Because like immediately I thought, well, something can just crawl down in between the wood and the wire. So yeah, it's all like stapled down on the inside using a like a pneumatic staple gun. Hook it up to the air compressor, and drive those staples in there.
Nice. Do
Are
you
your
keep them out year
posts?
round, everybody?
Oh, sorry.
Sorry, Wendy.
Oh, I was just
Uh,
going to ask if your posts are sunk in the ground at all, or are they just attached to the 2x12s?
They're not sunken into the ground.
Okay.
All of that is just built on top of the ground,
On
and then
top. Okay.
I've backfilled a little bit. So maybe the posts are sunk a couple inches, but nothing for structural reason, I would say. Those pens are so heavy as it is. I
Oh,
don't think
yeah.
they're really going to go anywhere.
are all your animals kept out year round?
No, no, I'm a bit of a chicken in that regard, and my mentor, who lives kind of in the area over here, he is very successful with just wrapping his enclosures in, I think it's called the visqueen plastic. He just wraps his enclosures, pretty much airtight, and throws aerators in the water, and his turtles come up every year, and they do very well for him. He keeps like Gulf coasts outside year round in Illinois, which like blew my
Wow.
mind the first time I'd ever heard him say that. I was like, what? Really? Um, so I do want to try that. I do want to try it. I don't know if I want to try it with, my animals being the test subjects. Maybe I'll do like a dry run this year, but it is something that me and my father have talked about. There's a nursery. Oh my gosh, there's a nursery close to us actually that is selling some of those greenhouse tents. I kind of want to throw, like those white tunnel greenhouses. I kind of want to throw one of those over the entire run of pens and just kind of try that out, or I don't know. I don't know. It's
Uh,
cheap enough. Both are cheap enough to where you could just kind
if,
of do
if you
either.
do the greenhouse thing, which I totally say go ahead and do it, you're gonna have to build a support, man. I made
Yeah.
it through most of the winter, and one heavy snowfall with wet snow, and the whole thing fell apart on me. So definitely put a middle support down the center. You'll be fine. It would have been fine if I had a middle support, but I didn't, and my round hoop house turned into an M house. So
Ooh.
it worked. It still functioned, but it wasn't great. It was really I was literally crawling in there trying to lift it back up, and I'm like, yeah, there's way too much snow, way too heavy. So if you do it, build the center support. You'll be fine. Just build the center support.
Are you talking like a beam that goes down the middle supporting the arches, or like support for the actual plastic?
No support for the beams. Center beam
Oh, okay.
down from the top to down to the ground is what I'm telling you to put up for supports.
Okay,
So
okay,
yeah,
okay.
yeah.
No.
I can send you some photos later. It was very disturbing when I looked out the window. I'm like, oh no. It lasted all winter, and the one last snowstorm of the season, it just died. So
Oh boy.
yeah,
Everybody was okay, right?
everyone survived the winter. Yeah, I had, knock on wood. My animals did really well this year. It's stressful leaving them out there and not seeing them for 4 months and not being able to go in there and dig them up. Like they're just down. There's no way for me to get to them. There's definitely some benefits about leaving them in your garage or doing the refrigerator method, but it was really nice not having all these tubs all over my house too. So I don't know. I can't say one way is better than the other. They both have their benefits. They both have their merits to doing. You know, it's nice to be able to pick up an animal and weigh it in the middle of the winter and be like, oh, this guy's not doing great. Let me get him out of hibernation and get him back up to where he needs to be versus, oh crap, it's March and this animal came out and I'm like, oh God, is it going to make it, kind of thing. So I did have to bring a couple animals in and just give them a little head start, and they bounced back. And luckily I did really well this year, but it's still very terrifying. And I did the refrigerator method too, man. And God, you want to talk about like putting an animal in the refrigerator? I'm like, I'm going to suffocate this thing. I just think of little kids locking themselves playing hide and go seek, and I'm like opening the refrigerator twice a day and have an air pump pushing air into the thing. It's just, the whole thing's stressful. But if you found a method that works for you, I say stick with the method that's working for you and just make it your own. Make it work.
Sure.
So
Yeah, I've been
So
doing the
Clay, do
refrigerator.
yours come into the fridge then?
Yeah, so I have been doing the refrigerator method. My Herman's tortoises, I've been doing those guys in the refrigerator for 4 years on the Herman's tortoises, and they always amaze me. Especially this year when I had woken them up, I put them outside. Obviously I didn't want to like shock them in temperature. I let them hang out in the shade for a little while. It was still cold outside, but not quite as cold as the refrigerator was. I let them warm up the few degrees difference, set them down in the pen, and just immediately they're eating. Like nothing ever happened. It's like you press the play button after pausing a movie. They just kind of resumed animation and didn't care about nothing. Um, I've done my three-toed box turtles for a couple of them I've had for longer than the others. I've done those guys for 3 years. Every year, those guys wake up completely fine. This year, well, so last year I gotten a few new three-toed box turtles, and brought them out of brumation, set them up outside. This March was just really weird for us. It got like super hot. It was like 80 degrees for like 2 weeks straight, and then we had like a crazy cold snap. I guess it didn't snap down. It gradually got colder again, but like it went back to 40 at night kind of stuff. And the season before, they had stayed outside up until that point, until they themselves were 40 degrees. Then I moved them in the refrigerator. Um, but I just think that like extreme in such a couple of weeks span, I think that really just messed up their immune systems a little bit. I did have a couple of respiratory infections. I had two ear abscesses, which I've never had in box turtles before. So that was um, a bit of a surprise. Not exactly the funnest thing to deal with, but also not the worst thing, of course. But yeah, it was just a weird spring, and I don't know. That wasn't very fun. For a little bit, I was just like, man, maybe I'm just done trying to brewmate box turtles. But I don't know. I think maybe I do it and just kind of head start them a little bit in the house until um April, maybe, or something like that.
When do you
April.
normally move your animals from the refrigerator out? So when do you take them
So
out of brumation and move them outside normally or around?
sure, beginning of brumation will typically be maybe the second week of November. Well, it varies. Early November to mid November is when they'll be coming in. They'll be getting the air temperature might be like 35 at night or so. They themselves are going to be right about 40. And then, of course, I have my refrigerator running for a couple of weeks beforehand with the brumation tubs already in there so that I can ensure the inside of the tubs are 40 degrees. I don't want to shock anybody or anything or let them get too cold outside so yes, to answer your question, early to mid November, and then man, usually it's like second week of March, maybe that last week of March or so, but I don't know. I think I need or yeah, I think I maybe need to just hold off until like May, give them a little bit more time in the house just so I know there's no more funny business going on outside. Um yeah, I that just wasn't fun. So I do think I'm just gonna head start everybody in the house a little bit and then move them outside when I'm very confident that there's nothing crazy gonna go on.
Yeah, I could see how that would cause anxiety. I have a 25-year-old Greek tortoise, and I've never brumated him ever because I'm too
Sure.
chicken.
Does he not cool down for you? Like, does he not slow down for you in the winter?
Oh, he does. I turn his heat light off and he kind of slows down, doesn't pace, doesn't eat as much, gets a little less angry, but I've never like fully, put him in the fridge or anything like that.
Sure.
He's a
I
very
it's
angry little
stressful.
dude.
I can say it's stressful, but
Yeah.
so Clay, are you breeding anything? You've been brumating them the Hermans several years. Are you getting any eggs out of them?
The Hermans they haven't done anything for me. My original male, and then a female that I had gotten not too long after him. I think the female's just about size. She's probably however big that might be. Um, so I don't see why they wouldn't be laying. I have brumated them. Those two I have brumated for 4 years. So I don't see why I'm not getting any eggs out of them yet. They're not doing anything for me just yet. The three-toed box turtles, I've got 11 eggs of those guys in incubator right now. A couple of them are probably going to go bad. I just don't think that they were fertile to begin with. Um, but excuse me, last year I ended up producing two baby three toads, and one reason or another, they just did not thrive for me. Completely could have been me. I have raised baby box turtles before, as a matter of fact. I've got some juveniles about that big or so. They've graduated to coming outside. I've raised them since just teeny tiny babies. Just for some reason or another, the ones that I had produced last year just did not do great for me. So hopefully we're going to get to be able to try that again this year. Definitely a lot more eggs than last year. I only had 3 eggs last year, so this is definitely a big jump from that. But yeah, and then three striped mud turtles. I've produced those for this will be my second year producing them. Um, Last year I had a real great time with them. I had hatched 16 of them.
Wow.
Um, just kind of, and so this is from my first clutch, and so I was having a bit of a tough time nailing down the temperatures with. So I was using a hovabator, and obviously incubating during the winter. Um, my room just isn't very well, like my bedroom just isn't very well insulated. So I was finding that my incubation temperatures were fluctuating. Sometimes the incubator, I'd crack it open and it'd be 88 degrees in there, and it just wasn't awesome. It was very stressful, and then they finally did hatch out. I'm sure, as you can see, my eyes are so bad, but this one just had a ton of extra scoots on them. Or I assume her, it got really hot, so it's probably going to be female. um, just a lot of extra scoots on them. I had the first three hatched out like that, just extra scoots. um, and then one actually hatched out. It had four vertebral scoots instead of five, which that looked interesting. But I've given those ones to a friend in New Jersey. He's got those guys, and then all the others have gifted. And yeah, that's my favorite. I hesitate to say that. One of my favorites. And I just want everyone to have them. That's like the best pet turtle. Like, stink pot, razorback. Well, razorbacks get a little bit big, so maybe not. But a three striped mud turtle. My very biggest female three stripe is like that big, and she's absolutely ancient. And it's just like, man, if that's as big as those turtles get, why are those not red-eared sliders?
I agree. I agree. It's a way better pet turtle.
Oh yeah.
Way better pet turtle. I have three in the basement. They're fun. They have
Oh yeah.
personality. The only turtle that's ever bit me multiple times. I've
That's
been
awesome.
trying to. I've been snapped at by other turtles. The only one that's actually ever bitten me has been these three straight muds. They bite me every single time. So they're fun. They got great personality.
Oh yeah.
Are yours a yellow variety or are they the darker color as adults?
So as adults, they are the blonde variety.
Okay.
I will say that I've found like the older ones that I have are, I guess, darkening up in color. They're still not the black like northern variety. Yeah, so that's like my nicest like blonde female. She's amazing. I don't think she's as old as some of the others. I just posted the other day another female. Um, actually, like my biggest one. Oh, those were my Everglades. Um, yeah, those are really fun. I really like those. I keep those completely separate from my generic blonde group. Um, yeah, really hoping to do some good things with those guys. As a matter of fact, I hate to name drop anybody, but Anthony Pierleone actually sent me two babies out of his group of Everglades. So, yeah, I'm gonna grow those ones up. Hopefully, they end up, and that's them right there. Hopefully, I end up having one of each sex, and then I will take my male, just split my group up so they will be as genetically diverse as possible. Um, but yeah, yeah, I do have one female dark phased striped mud turtle, and then I've got two males that are the dark phase. Um, so yeah, I'm just gonna keep them very separate from each other for sure.
Nice. Now, do you keep the adults outside?
Yes, yeah. The entire group of blondes is outside right now. They're actually in my wood turtle pen. Um, yeah, I'm thinking I might end up pulling those guys out. They are actually laying eggs in there. Last night I pulled out two more eggs from them in the wood turtle pen, and then about 2 weeks ago, I think it would be now. Um, I like watched a female lay just one egg in there, but it was so cool. I don't know how. I don't know how I just like accidentally stumbled upon her like getting done laying, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, is that why I'm seeing you out on land right now? That was really cool. So now it's like, all right, I know that I need to get out there and start looking because they are laying right now, which is how I found the ones yesterday.
God, it's
Do
got
you
to be
ever have
really
ground
difficult.
hatches from? Sorry, Mark.
Oh, you go.
Do you ever have ground hatches since you've got them outside all summer?
No, I haven't had any ground hatches. This is my first year actually putting them in the wood turtle pond. Previously, I've had
Okay.
them in a stock tank outside. I utilize the 6 foot long, 70-gallon horse troughs. I got a whole bunch of those for an amazing deal, and definitely built a way over the top built lid for those because raccoons. But
Mhm.
yeah, I'll have them lay in like a big flower pot full of sand. I'll throw that in there, and they'll get in there and lay in that. It's pretty much what I have them set up in the winter inside. I just pretty much mimic that outside, and they've just done well that way. But this year I wanted to put them in a pond. But yeah, it is not. It's there's a lot to look for or look through when you're looking for eggs in that pen. That's like the one downside of me putting them in there.
Yeah, I don't know how you're going to ever find eggs. The fact that you found 3 is amazing. 12 foot, what'd you say, 12 by 8 foot enclosure?
Yep, yes, sir.
Yeah. Good luck. Good luck. That's crazy. I'm surprised you found any at all.
Well, and like with the three-toed box turtles, it's just by happenstance. I'll walk past and I'm like, "What are you doing out here? The sun's like just about gone," and doing their little dance and everything. That was funny. It's always by accident that I find them laying or find them covering up. It's always by accident.
I do find the box turtles tend to lay at night, or right after a rain or right around a rain. So you can get lucky and plan for them. I've gotten eggs from mud turtles, but they were not successful or I don't think they were fertile, but it was by chance I found them. Like it wasn't like, oh, hey, here they are. I'm like, these could have been laid a year ago and I've just found them. So yeah.
Sure.
Fun though. They're fun.
I love when they hatch out. They're like they're like that big and they come out just hating the world. They want to eat you alive. Baby mud turtles are my favorite. I absolutely love them.
Can we talk a little bit about how you choose plants for your enclosures? That was one thing I noticed from your video, that they're very, very beautifully planted. You've got all the hostas, you've got irises, your ponds in there are really gorgeous. How do you pick what you're planting in there?
Thank you, first of all. So I think as with many turtle keepers, you borrow ideas from other people and make them your own. Um, always watching the Garden State Tortoise videos. Just kind of seeing his beautifully planted pens. And then I think every once in a while he'll make a video like, hey, these plants are good, use these, or just kind of copying off the person who I refer to as my mentor, copy off of him. You know, with the hostas, my buddy's dad actually called me. I was like, how'd you get my number, dude? But he's like, are you going to take all these hostas or am I just throwing them away? And I'm like, I'm taking them. So yeah, ended up with a bunch of hostas that way. Yeah, I don't know. It's just kind of a little bit of, you find a plant that you really like, you're walking around at the fish store, it's pond season, they've got all the pond plants in and, you know, obviously research anything that you're going to put into your pens. Obviously do your research, make sure that it's safe or is it going to be super bitter? Are they even going to want to eat it? Um So yeah, that's kind of just the way I go about it. I see something that I like. If it doesn't work out, oh well, that doesn't go into a turtle pen, but I might plant it somewhere else in the yard. So, um, but yeah, just kind of finding something that I like and seeing if it works.
Very
Yeah, and
nice.
the animals really appreciate having that heavily planted, like, it makes it harder to find them and to see them, but I know that's what they prefer for sure.
Exactly, exactly. I just want to do my best to create a little slice of nature. With some species, it's like, I'm really setting you up to breed you. But like I'm still gonna just kind of overload you with water hyacinth and you know, give you obviously enrichment that way. But yeah, with these enclosures, I wanted to just I think it's Chris Leone that had mentioned this in a video. When you're keeping turtles and tortoises, you want it to be like a botanical garden that just also happens to have turtles in it. Oh
Mhm.
my gosh. Um, but yeah, that's kind of my philosophy is a botanical garden with turtles in it.
Michael asked a good question. So where you have your enclosures in your yard, you mentioned hostas, you mentioned irises. Is the yard shaded? Is there a lot of shade in that area, or are you using shade cloth? How are your area, your yard, how much sun does that get?
So my yard has no tree. The only trees in my yard, well, I guess that's kind of a lie. The only trees in that half of my yard are right above the turtle pens. So I kind of just play with them, cut a branch off here or there, just to kind of play with like my morning sunlight. The eastern hermit tortoises, they're all the way on the end, on the east end, so they're getting um, morning sun and everything. The wood turtles and box turtles, the box turtles, I think just kind of happened kind of luckily that way that they got the shadiest spot. Um, the wood turtles probably see sun over a majority of the enclosure about 1 o'clock. As the sun is rising, this front right corner of the enclosure gets its patch of sun. They'll bask there early in the morning, and then it, obviously kind of opens up as the day grows wider. Oh my gosh, these flies are killing me. I swear I don't stink. Um, so yeah, just kind of when I feel like a pen is not getting enough sun, I'll hop up on top of the pens, trim those trees a little bit, open it up, and yeah. But for the most part, my yard is just in full sun all day. I do utilize shade cloth on my stock tanks. Down in like the corner of the yard, I definitely do utilize a 70% shade cloth that I'll like lay it out and then I'll fold it up and I'll have maybe a 3 foot, like 2 3 foot wide section of shade cloth. So 70% times however many times I roll it up, I kind of just leave that over, um, however much, probably about half of what it covers on my tubs. When we're getting like these crazy, super hot, weeks. And then obviously as the temperatures come down, I remove that and just change, not change water, but I add cold water in the morning and at night just to kind of try to keep the temperatures a little bit stable in there for them. But so all of the above.
Nice.
Do you have a sprinkler system for all the plants, or are you watering that by hand?
That is my treat for after work. I come home, I grab the hose, and usually when I'm on when I get home from work, the sun is starting to set, so it's okay to water the plants. I get out there and I just, the box turtles and the wood turtles, I just drench those pens. It's also a really good time to feed, throw out a whole bunch of berries and bugs and pellets and stuff for all of them, and they definitely seem to go crazy. They're on a little bit of a schedule. I like to think. As soon as I start spraying, they know it's go time.
Nice.
Are there any species you're looking to add or work with in the future?
So yes and no. I definitely have big dreams and everything like that. Species that I do want to work with. As of right now, not really. I'm looking for just a really nice male red cheek mud turtle. I used to have a group of red cheek mud turtles that got raccooned, as they say. Um, so all I have left is the three that I've produced from that group, which all turned out to be females. And then a buddy had sold me one, just a really nice, bigger female. And then another friend had sold me these just amazing female red cheeks, which at the time I was still thinking that I was incubating my red cheeks for males. Um, I don't have a single male. So if anyone's got a really nice male red cheek out there, get at me. Um, Male Pelusius nanus, really looking for one of those guys. I do want to set up some Panhandle Gulf Coasts. I do have a lone male. Really looking to be very selective in any females that I might acquire. He's just got this look about him. He's got like these jaguar spots on his shell. Like, he's also one of my favorite turtles. Yeah, really want to like try to just preserve that look. Um, Yeah, that would be awesome. That's a group that I would, no questions asked, go and set up a pen for him right now, and um, yeah, be very happy about it.
Does your Gulf Coast spend most of its time in the water?
I would say about 50-50. When I kept
Okay.
him with the wood turtles, you know, yeah, he was very active all over the pen. Um, yeah, he was noticeably, the aquatic box turtle that they're said to be.
So do you have plans to expand on the pens that you have out there, or are you just trying to work with the space that you have now?
So in my intro video, you might have seen that. I agree with that, Greg. In my intro video, you might have seen that I've got a whole bunch of lumber just kind of sitting in front of the pens. That's
Mhm.
just extra 2x12s that are going to create, another two of those 8 foot by 12 foot pens. Um, so I'm gonna do those two pens and then kind of cap that right there. Um, I do have to, I still do have to listen to my dad. He doesn't want his whole yard taken up by tortoise pens and stuff. So, um,
Why
you know,
not?
that's what I say. They're so cool.
Tell
But
Daddy doesn't
yeah,
have to mow the lawn if there's a pen there.
There
and
you
that's what
go.
I'm saying. The
Yeah, less yard
entire
work. It's so much better.
That's what I'm saying. You guys need to talk to my dad. You guys got to talk to that guy. That like half of the yard is all a clover field. Like it's all clover. It would be amazing. It would be just amazing for tortoise pens. You know, yeah, that would be awesome. But as of right now, he's standing firm on that. So I don't really want to push my luck. He does let me get away with a lot, I will say. And he helps me out with a lot. Just building stuff and um when I know that I've got a little project that might require a little bit more of like a fine eye, ask him, hey, just kind of take a look at this, tell me where I'm being an idiot, and I will stop doing that. Um, so yeah, definitely have to listen to him in that regard. But for right now, I'm totally okay to go with a couple more pens in that area, just kind of following that line. And then I do have a top secret project that I'm working on at the other end of the yard. That is another pen. It will be for tortoises, and it's going to be
Ooh.
specifically designed for the breeding of those tortoises, just because they are no longer imported anymore. And I feel like there's not a ton of attention on them, and yeah, I really want to dedicate some space to them. It's going to be really nice. Um, so
Tim
yeah,
wants to know what you're most excited to looking for this year.
finishing that pen, man. Finishing that new pen and getting those guys outside. Again, top secret, but yeah, that is going to be awesome when I can finally get those guys outside. I will feel very accomplished, and thereon, hoping to get those tortoises to breed and get a bunch of captive bred offspring to kind of swap around and just contribute to the gene pool.
Good for you.
Oh yeah,
That's
thank you.
awesome.
Preservation. Good.
That's
Good
the
job.
name of the game.
Good job.
I appreciate that.
It can spiral out of control though. You keep adding animals and adding animals.
Sure,
I met
most
Wendy. I think
certainly.
she had 2. Now she's up to 4 species.
Oh, a lot. Redfoots, yellowfoots, spiders, Greek, African helmeted. There's another aquatic turtle coming after Daytona. So
I know what that one is. Good luck with that. It's gonna be
yeah,
awesome.
yeah,
Nice.
they're definitely addictive. I have the opposite problem of you, Clay. My son is like, no more animals. Like he'll come to reptile shows and be like, don't, no more.
We all
That's
need someone to ground us.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
We really do. Doesn't help, but we definitely need someone to ground us.
Yeah.
So you got the layout for that enclosure. What size is that going to be?
It's 8 feet, or it's 10 feet by 16 feet, but I'm gonna make some dividers within there. Um, I'm gonna make some dividers within there just because I do have specific pairings that I want to do. Pairings and like trios. Um, I
By
don't
all
know.
means, guys, guess what species it is in the chat. I'd love to see if anyone guesses it. He's not going to tell
Sure.
us, but let's see what you guys come
I'm
up
gonna
with.
I'm gonna try not to let it slip.
No, don't let it slip. Keep
Okay.
keep the secret. That's good. Let's see if
Sure.
anyone can guess it though.
Okay. So again, yeah, here's another thing to kind of add to the suspense. I don't know how a lot of people feel about determining subspecies of this species of tortoise. I feel that after studying up on reading a bunch of literature, looking at the tarot log books, speaking to a bunch of different people, listening to a couple of podcasts specifically on this group of tortoises, I feel that I have 5 out of 5 subspecies represented in my collection, or in my care. I don't have females for all of those subspecies, and yeah, I don't have females for one of those subspecies. So for one of them, I only have 2 males of. But yeah, I don't know how people feel about that. So I'm very hesitant to say definitively, this is what I have, this is what I have, and this is what I have. Instead, I'm playing matchmaker. I'm just putting a bunch of tortoises that look very similar, almost nearly identical with each other, and hopefully there's some validation to that, or maybe that's not the right word, but hopefully that's doing a good thing, and they're not just you know I don't make myself look like an idiot for trying to definitively say something that I have not genetically tested or anything like that, which I would love to do. Would love to have all these animals submitted for genetic testing. Um,
There's options coming. There's definitely people working in that, and I definitely know a few people that are like, oh yeah, these guys are testing these or testing those. So if you need some help with that, reach out to me. I know a couple people behind the scenes that are working on testing species to make sure they're the right subspecies for the right breeding. So
Awesome.
and there's a couple people on here that have done it. Michael, what is her name that tested her Russians?
Katie.
I want to say
Didn't Katie do
Katie
it?
tested her Russians, and all hers turned out to be one subspecies. She lucked out, and yeah, she's doing it right. She's got it all dialed in. Where I have Russians, and I can tell you my group is a lot of surrenders from other people, and I have a grab bag of animals. So,
sure.
and to do it by cosmetics, yeah, I'm just not comfortable enough to do that. So mine's a grab bag of of turtles right now. So
Sure.
It would be really nice if that testing was available in the US.
I actually think there's some people working on that. So
Oh, nice.
yeah, I really do. Aaron Johnson and the guys that wrote that paper on the Tripolitania, they're
Mhm.
working on getting access to a lab to be able to do it here in the US. So I know there's people behind the scenes trying to make it easier for all of us involved. So it's
That would
That's
coming.
be
great because
amazing.
I know Katie had to go through a lot of hoops to get all those samples over to Europe or wherever it is they do the
And there's a
testing.
lot of problems taking samples too, like if you did it wrong or anything like that. So I know when they were testing the Tripolitanias, there were some real issues getting the sampling done properly. So it can be having someone here in the US to do it will make life a lot easier for everyone using it. So it's coming. Just give it time.
Sweet. All right.
That's awesome. All
So
right, we're kind of getting close to the end of the hour. Is there anything that we didn't touch on that you wanted to talk about?
Mm,
should definitely get your dad and you over to the TTPG conference. We can convince him to add some space for those tortoises. He's just got to
sure.
meet one Aladabra, and he'll be like, okay, yeah, we can put that in our yard.
Yeah, right. He yeah, he definitely enjoys the turtles, and you know, I always tell him like, "Hey, I could be driving a Camaro right now, you know, pouring a bunch of money into that, and then oh no, one day I wreck it, you know." I'm like, that would be all of that work just gone. These guys, it's a little bit more, I guess maybe tangible might not be the right word, but like it's just a more positive thing, I like to think. Um, and so we're tearing down our swimming pool right now. Just don't ever buy a swimming pool. They suck. They're nice, but
Disagree with that.
yeah,
I disagree with that. I don't think I would ever live in a house without a pool, but that's just me.
sure, sure. Um, but like when we were about to tear it down, I took a picture and put it on Facebook. I was like, oh, I just want to, you know, thank my father for this just most generous donation. You know, in my preservation efforts for turtles. You know, it's gonna be amazing. I'm gonna put uh I don't even know what I said, but I'm like, I'm gonna put this in here, and it's gonna be amazing. You know, thank you so much, Dad. And he's like, take that down.
Do you work with
I
any other
threatened to,
reptiles? Oh, God.
Oh, sorry.
I was
Wendy,
just
what
gonna
were you
say I
saying?
threatened to put fly river turtles in our pool all the time. Be like, man, we never swim. I'm putting fly river turtles in it.
That's awesome. Well, they got those saltwater pools now. You could do a lot of cool stuff with some terrapins. That would be cool.
Oh yeah.
Um, but yeah, so I don't keep any other species of reptiles now. I used to, you know, kind of being the token reptile guy, you know, growing up and everything, you know. I always had people kind of just giving me animals, you know, and I would accept, you know, just kind of sometimes with the idea that, all right, well, I don't want to hang on to this water monitor forever. I'm going to find someone to, you know, give this thing to. You know, obviously somebody, not just the first taker, someone that's going to, you know, hey, can I just bring this over to you and you set it up the most amazing way possible? So that kind of stuff. And that, I guess that is something that I wanted to touch on a little bit. Just being like the token reptile guy, you know, it was always, oh, I've got this painted turtle, oh, I've got this red-eared slider or whatever, you know. Um, and I just found that like turtles were one of like the most unwanted reptiles, and it was just like, why? These are so cool. Um, and you know, and for that reason, I've always wanted to just really try to do the best that I can by them, because it's like, you know, maybe not for the sliders, but a lot of the painted turtles and stuff, like, all right, that's a turtle that somebody found at their lake house or whatever and just kind of yanked out of the wild. Now it's here. Now they don't want it. Um, you know, just kind of always ended up with something like that. And it's just like, you know, you have this sense of guilt, or I almost have this sense of guilt where it's just like, man, like, you know, I have so much fun doing this, but like for sometimes for the animal, it's like a very different reality, and it's just like, well, they're here now. The best thing that I can do is try to, set them up like this. I try to do the best that I can for them. But yeah, sorry. Um, but yeah, being that token, reptile guy at school or whatever, everyone would always bring me a bearded dragon, or for a little while, I had the black and white pectinata spiny tail iguanas. Those were really fun. Um, I just, I just think animals like that, unless you're gonna build them a greenhouse or just a massive enclosure and climate control the room, like that's an animal. Those were animals that I just did not feel good about keeping, and for a while I was looking for the right person to kind of just take them off my hands. At one point I was looking at donating them to like Iguana Land. That was going to be a very expensive plane ride for them. Um, my ideal thing was just to get them down south. And at the time I was kind of in between jobs and everything, so I didn't really have a couple $100 to send them down via FedEx. But they actually ended up going even farther north, up into Michigan. They're at a buddy's facility, and he's got them in an amazing enclosure right now. I'm really, really glad that he was just like, you know what, you've been talking about them for a while. Let me take them. I've got this enclosure freed up. Let's get it going. So we, long car ride, but we got them up there, and um, they're doing awesome now. But kind of since those guys, I just really haven't wanted to keep any other animal. I had them for a couple of years, just kind of slowly realizing that, I'm a turtle and tortoise guy. It's I don't want to take away from my turtles and tortoises, and I don't want to feel like I'm putting anything else that I'm not quite as passionate about on the back burner. So just kind of through that whole experience, it's like I don't know if I'm ever going to keep anything that's not a turtle, tortoise, or a fish. I'm also really passionate about fish, and I do have 3 fish tanks right now, but yeah, just I'm a turtle and tortoise guy. I don't really want to take on any side quests as cool as they may be. It's I'm trying to really just stand firm on just not taking on anything that I'm not serious about.
Gotcha. I think you've found the right group of people to support your passion on the species that you want to pick. So we're turtle and tortoise people here, definitely.
Yeah.
One or two. One or two.
One.
Are there any eggs in your incubator right now? You said you had the
Was
muds.
that what was 1 or 2 for?
I was just saying one or two turtle people. That's all. In
Oh, I
disguise.
thought you were
Yeah,
asking
yeah.
me to pick a number, 1 or 2.
No,
Okay.
no, 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 no.
So
I,
sorry.
I figured we were just gonna let that slide. I thought that's what you thought too. I was like, okay, that's not what I meant.
Okay, okay, okay.
You said you
Yes.
have the mud turtles in the incubator and 3-toed box turtles eggs in the incubator. Anything
Yep.
else?
Nope, nothing else.
No. Are your woods old enough to breed yet?
So I found eggshells in the enclosure last year. I assume that she had dug a nest and maybe turned around and just ate them, or the male came up right behind her and ate it. It only I only found one eggshell, one like big shred of egg. So maybe there were multiple and they had eaten them. Maybe she only laid one and they ate it. But yeah, so that is like one of my challenges right now. It's like, all right, how can I alter this enclosure to get them to lay? Um, and since I made the intro video, I actually ripped out a massive clump of plants because I noticed that they had favored digging in that spot when all the plants were there. But it just looked like kind of a test nest. Like they're just kind of scratching around looking for something. So I'm like, you know what? They're gonna want a lot more just open space and sunlight if they're gonna want to lay there. So I did rip out that huge clump of plants, and then on the other side, where I actually found some 3-stripe eggs. I was thinking, okay, let me open this area up a little bit more as well, and just dumped a few bags of sand out right there, kind of mixed it in with the dirt. So fingers crossed big time that I'll get some wood turtle eggs this year. that I can, harvest and incubate. Um,
It's a cool
but
species. Wish I could work with them. That's
yeah,
absolutely a gorgeous turtle. So,
I
and
love
fun
them
and
so much.
personable.
Yes, they're so intelligent. It's you always hear people say, "Oh, that's the most intelligent reptile species," and like, I guess maybe not having like experienced that species, it's kind of hard to put that into perspective. You're like, no, a water monitor or parenti or uh that other one that's also really smart. I don't know, I'm not a lizard guy. But wood turtles are like very just inquisitive. They're so like, yeah, every time I'm out there, when they hear me talking, they're poking their head up out of the water like, oh, has this guy got food or something? What's going on over here? Is he gonna spray us down? um yeah, they're a very fun species to keep. I really like them.
I can agree with that. I would love one day to be able to work with that species.
Are they prohibited in your state? I'm not sure where you're coming from.
Yeah, we're the Northeast, so we can't have anything that's native. So um, box, sorry, Eastern box turtles, um, Eastern painted turtles, all those guys can't have that stuff. So unfortunate.
Yeah.
I don't think they enforce the law with the Eastern painted. It's such a cool species too up here, and they stay small. Um, Too bad. Southerns are we can have Southerns and stuff like that, but just can't have anything that's native. So
Okay.
yeah, no terrapins, no spotteds. That's another cool species that we can't have. Spotteds would be nice because it's such a perfect size pet turtle. I'm surprised you don't have spotteds, Wendy. She's
Sorry.
shrugged.
Yeah, I
Sorry.
mean, started with tortoises, and the turtles were kind of like an accidental. Like we had the courtyard out front, and we're like, what should we put out here? Let's put a pond. And my husband was just like, we've got to get turtles of some sort. And we kind of lucked into the Pella Medusa. And they were like the gateway drug to aquatic turtles. So, because they're just awesome. They're so personable and they're great.
I agree, but keeping water turtles inside sucks. So
Yeah, well, that's one thing that, we have to have winter tanks inside for them, and then they go out in the summer. But then, I could get a species that could go outside all winter, but again, I'm chicken about stuff like that. So
yeah,
I will probably be rotating the new ones too.
got to keep them safe.
Yeah. Well, we're over an hour, so I don't know if you have any final words you want to share or anything to wrap us up. Just a reminder to everybody, the conference registration is now open on the website, ttpg.org, and then just click on conferences. You can go and register. We also have sponsorships available there. I know there's also is it students can apply to have their conference fees waived, so be sure to look into that as well. Mark, is there anything I'm forgetting,
Nope.
housekeeping wise?
The hotel block isn't open yet, but that will happen soon. We'll let you guys know when that's available. But definitely go register if you're going to go. There's some awesome articles in the Batager this year. So I hope I see you smiling. I hope you guys get to come and pick up your Batager. And there's no better conference in my opinion. You guys are going to really enjoy yourselves if you come. Please register early. Last year, I think we had record numbers, and I'm sure we're going to actually have the same this year. So just keep adding, and just a great group of people.
Yeah, I mean, I can say I'm an introvert. I hate traveling. I have social anxiety, and I just had the best time at the conference. I was going thinking, if this is not my thing, I'll do it this year, and then I won't do it again. I couldn't wait when we left. I'm like, I can't wait till next year. It is that awesome. It's amazing. So if you're on the fence, definitely come. All you need to do is come one year, and you'll never want to miss it.
Yep. Say hello to me and Wendy. We'll introduce you to other people, and everyone's very friendly. You guys will love it. So come join us. It's going to be an awesome conference as always.
And Clay, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Seriously, the enclosures that you have, they could absolutely be a conference presentation. So think about that, or think about maybe writing an article about them. Really fantastic. You've given me a bunch of ideas, and I really enjoyed getting the chance to talk to you tonight.
Awesome. Yeah, I would be open to something like that, I might have some questions later on, but yeah, that would be awesome. And I'm really glad that I, um, was able to kind of give you some ideas and give different perspectives on, how to go about building enclosures and stuff. So, yeah, any way that I'm able to like help others help their animals, always love to do it.
Thank you very much,
Thank you
Clay.
so much. And thank everyone for joining us tonight. We really appreciate you.
Thanks, guys.
All right, you guys have a great rest of your night and enjoy.